Welcome to the X Block.
Am I right, Marine? Sir, yes, sir! Then listen up.
You're listening to the X Block. I'm Jared, he's Caleb. Let's get into it. You are listening to the X Block Podcast's review of E3, and this is the Xbox conference. I'm Jared. I'm here with Caleb.
Hey,
and the guy mowing Caleb's neighbor's lawn.
dude, he's out there, man. He's mowing the yard at like 3 p.m. I'm like, what are you doing, man? It's a Sunday. Aren't you going to church or something? Like, you know, what are you doing out there? But yeah, if that comes through, I don't think it will. But there's some man mowing my yard. I'm like, what the fuck you doing, man? Get the hell out of here. Go away. Not my yard, my neighbor's yard. Whatever. Who cares? It's Xbox. It's E3.
And normally we host an Xbox related podcast, so this is kind of our mecca. And some say it's the number one Xbox podcast in the world.
Probably.
There you go. So if you feel like checking it out and this is your first venture into us, come hit us up at the X Block Podcast, basically everywhere.
I want them to venture into me so bad, Jared. You don't understand. Yeah, dude, check out the X Block Podcast anywhere, podcast services, YouTube, whatever. Leave us nice reviews. And at X Block Podcast on Twitter. But we don't need to plug too much because, dude, it's E3. It's the Xbox conference. It's the most hyped thing of the year. Better than Christmas, Thanksgiving. This is better, dude.
Dude, X gonna give it to you.
It is, and it did, in fact, give it to me, Jared. X did give it to me.
And the show, hopping over to that, opened up with Starfield. The big thing that I think everybody thought was going to be the end. Nah, it was the start.
They flipped it on us, man. Bethesda Game Studios Starfield, which we've known about for 3 years at this point. How many years?
Yeah, a long ass time. And Caleb and I have been saying that it's going to be exclusive for about 3 months, but they announced it today. It is exclusive.
Yes, made on the Creation 2 engine. Game Pass day one. And with a release date set for November 11th, 2022.
Yep.
And they showed, I guess it was in-engine footage within the Creation 2 engine, right? That was in-engine? It wasn't like CG?
Yeah, it looked good comparatively to any other Bethesda game they've shown.
Oh, yeah, by far. Because Bethesda Game Studio, or Bethesda games are known for being kind of like janky. They're good, but they like, you know, they could have, it was time to improve the engine, and they did. And so there's this woman just sitting in a, what was kind of going on? There was some you know, robotic voice talking over her as she kind of flipped through the controls, and it showed the panel of her ship, and it was pretty out there. Like, obviously, they're just saying, you know, it's coming. And they put a release date on it, which hopefully doesn't get pushed. And they're like, yo, show up for next E3, and we'll give you gameplay. That's what we hope. And it was pre-alpha footage, I should mention.
Yeah, they're doing their Bethesda thing of, we're not going to show too much until we're 6 months out, and then we'll show you the entire game at once. And then from there, we hopped over to Stalker 2, now called Heart of Chernobyl. I think it was just called Stalker 2 before.
Yeah, it was Stalker 2. Yeah, now it's Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl, which Jared and I have talked about on the X Block podcast, and we have been excited for it since it was initially announced. Was it what should have been E3 but wasn't because they didn't have E3 last year?
Yeah, last E3, because I was like, ooh, this could be Stalker. And you were like, what's Stalker? Yeah. And I was like, oh, it's basically Metro.
I didn't know about it, but I was so hyped. And the more I've seen about it, the better it looks. And why don't you tell us about Stalker 2, Jared? What do you have in your notes? What went on there?
Yeah, so Stalker 2 is basically this game that's set in Chernobyl in some kind of alternate reality where a bunch of like radiations come through. And it's similar to Metro, but it's got more of those like actual like grounded vibes in like Chernobyl and that kind of stuff.
Grounded, but it still has like, I don't know, the dude's walking around. It looks like Metro, but he has instruments that like, I don't know what he does. He's like scanning for alternate realities or something. And like these creatures
like
are like invisible, popping out. Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand. I never played the first Stalker, but I'm totally on board. It looks really hype.
Yeah.
And they said they're targeting 4K with ray tracing, and that it's day one Game Pass. I didn't get a release date or window.
28th of April, 2022.
Yeah, so first half of 2022.
Close-ish.
Presumably, even if it gets delayed. So that's pretty hype. Should be within a year that game's coming out.
Yep.
And it looks atmospheric and scarier. It's, you know, it's really atmospheric. It looks like it really sets you in that world, which, I mean, I'm excited for. Stalker 2 is one of the 3 games that I'm most hyped for in this whole event. The other 2 we will mention when we get there.
Yep. And then we hopped over to Back for Blood, good old Warner Brothers game, except, yo, it's in Game Pass day 1, October 12th.
I'm so excited. I think this was unveiled at the Game Awards, right, last year? It was unveiled, and they showed it off, and everyone was like, oh, dude, like Left 4 Dead, but it's back, you know, with these people. And it is back, man. And not only is it back, it's coming to Game Pass day 1 on October 12th.
Yep.
Which is so hype. Anyone who played Left 4 Dead, back in the 360 era, that kind of era of games, that's super fun co-op experience. Really not much else like it that I've seen. They tried with like Evolve kind of, but that wasn't a zombie game. That was just fighting a big fucking monster and tracking it down, and that was lame. But now we got this coming out, and it's just a bunch of different enemy types. It looks like a little more stylized version of Back 4 Blood. It definitely looks more AA, and they announced PvP. So there's some players versus zombies going on. Kind of, I guess, Dying Light style too. Dying Light has something like that. So yeah, look forward for more Back 4 Blood. Jaren, you got anything else to add to that?
I was pretty excited just about the fact that it was coming to Game Pass, because I was like, I wasn't going to play this game, and now I'm definitely going to play this game.
Yeah, I'm 100%. Like, yeah, with Game Pass, Jaren and I, we love co-op games, and we're hopping in.
Speaking of co-op games, we got Avalanche Studios announcing a partnership with Xbox. And they announced a co-op open world game called Contraband. I'm not sure if that's a working title or if that is the title, but it doesn't seem like it's anywhere close.
Yeah, they were playing some, I guess it would be licensed music, and it takes place in 2003, I think, according to, I don't know what it was, something in the trailer that featured that it was in 2003, it looked like. And yeah, what do you think about this game? There wasn't much there.
I'm judging by like the title of Contraband that it's going to be something to do with like drug cartels and stuff, but yeah, that's just a shot in the dark guess, right?
Yeah, it was just a dude hanging out, and what was it? I mean, I haven't seen the trailer since the conference about an hour ago or so, because you and I just finished the Square Enix conference, so we're recording this a bit later. But did you notice anything in particular that stood out? It's an Avalanche game. It's coming.
I don't think we can know too much about it. It's one of those things where they could change a whole bunch of stuff before they actually give us gameplay, right?
Yeah, it's true. And you might as well just like, hey, this is happening. Yeah, come back later, which happens sometimes at things like this.
That seems to be Xbox's new thing, where they're like, hey, we're going to announce stuff just far in advance so it doesn't get spoiled, and then you guys can come back here to enjoy gameplay.
Yeah, that actually seems like their and they have so much now. Like, it seems like their strategy, because they have so much that they can kind of do that and get away with it. Whereas you and I criticize PlayStation for showing games that they say are like 2 years out, but are actually 5.
Yeah, well, Xbox doesn't lie, right?
Yeah, but in this one, it's like and that's one of the things. Xbox doesn't really seemingly lie about it, and often. And then now they're just announcing games farther out because they have so much coming to Game Pass is like its own game. It's just a service. It's like so much shit's coming to Game Pass that we can just announce shit 2 years from now, 3 years from now, and you're still gonna have plenty to play in the meantime because here's what's coming to Game Pass now.
Yeah, and then we moved over from there to a game that's coming actually very soon, where the Sea of Thieves: A Pirate's Life expansion, and I wrote Disney collabs Pirates of the Caribbean, that comes out June 22nd.
Yeah, very soon. So within, I guess, 9 days, as we're recording this on June 13th. So yeah, they collabed with a dude who I don't think is, they didn't say Johnny Depp, so we assume it's not Johnny Depp voicing Captain Jack Sparrow. But it sounded just like him, whoever the guy they got to play him was.
I read something on Twitter that it's the guy from Kingdom of Hearts who voices him in Kingdom of Hearts. I don't know if that's true, but people were saying that.
I don't know who that is, but they did a great job. And yeah, it's just, Sea of Thieves has over, I believe, 20 million players now. And it's super popular. So this just makes sense. People have been wanting this forever, obviously. I play Sea of Thieves still with some friends. I usually fish, but
Yeah. You're the fisherman. That's literally how you play every game that has an ocean in it, or a lake, or a river.
They had Davy Jones. They had his ship coming out of the water. It was all just pirates. Dude, Pirates is coming to Sea of Thieves. I think it's just called, what is it? Yeah, A Pirate's Life.
Yeah, so, Pirate's Life.
Yeah. If you're a Sea of Thieves person, dude, get hype. More content incoming.
And then we hopped over to Yakuza Like a Dragon coming to Game Pass. And I believe that means that every single Yakuza game that has come out so far is in Game Pass.
Yeah, at least every mainline one, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe, you and I haven't played Yakuza yet, although you definitely are more interested in Like a Dragon, like that's something you think you'd give a shot. Right?
Yeah, I might play Like a Dragon, and the fact that it's in Game Pass just makes it all a lot easier to play.
Yeah, Sega games, it's available today, I think,
today.
In Game Pass. It's not just coming, it's there. You can go play it now.
Yeah, so get fucking hyped for that if you've been looking at Like a Dragon and being like, hey, I want to give that a shot. Well, now's your chance.
Speaking of get hyped, Jaren, the next thing is pretty get not hype, am I right?
Yeah, Battlefield 2042 coming October 22nd, 2021. And they showed the first gameplay here, but we know it doesn't have single player. We know it's a full price game, and now we know it's not coming to Game Pass, at least at release date.
Such a hype, leading up to everything Battlefield related. One of the bigger games shown here, honestly, with third party related. And it's such a letdown that it's not in Game Pass. We thought it could be potentially. They didn't really dispel rumors that it wouldn't be or anything moving forward that I can remember. And yeah, dude, they showed dynamic weather changing maps. So it looks like the sand covered that one map.
Yeah, like it didn't look covered before, and then the sand came in, and then the tanks were driving over the sand. That could have just been clever editing.
It could be, yeah. It seems like the premise for the weather events, though, is maybe not just that the weather events kill people in the game, but that the weather events could affect the map as you play them. I don't know, though. We'll see more, as the game gets closer to release. But yeah, it's in 4K HDR, at least in the set in the top right. It's not a Game Pass. The footage was pre-alpha footage, and we've seen pre-alpha screenshots that were leaked, I guess less than a week before this event, maybe. Around there, you could go look at the pre-alpha screenshots. But now we have actual footage.
Yeah, what the hell's pre-alpha mean? Like, I thought pre-alpha was like 2 years away from being ready, and now it's turned into like 6 months before the game comes out.
Speak the truth, Jaren. Speak it. Dude, like Halo 3 back in the day, Halo 3, when they had betas in 2007, like betas used to come out, like Halo would release in September, October, whatever, and betas would be out by like February of that year. Betas, like multiplayer betas would be out in the beginning of the year. And now shit's like, it's June, comes out, what'd you say, October?
Yeah, October
and they're
22nd.
Like pre-alpha footage. You're like, what? What are you talking about?
Yeah, to give you context for that, Halo showed pre-alpha footage at last like E3 equivalent. And that was a year and a half before the game came out.
Yeah, honestly. And that's like stretching it with, you don't have alpha yet, you know?
Yeah.
Like, like a vertical slice of an alpha piece of footage. I don't know.
Yep. And then after Battlefield, we got a quick look at 12 Minutes, and that comes out on August 19th, 2021.
Yes, that's what I wrote down, and it's in Game Pass.
Yeah, day one Game Pass, and I think the last time we saw that game, it didn't have James McAvoy, Daisy Ridley attached to it. It just had Willem Dafoe. So that's pretty cool that all three of them are going to be in that game as the voices.
But yeah, they said it's an interactive thriller about a man trapped in a time loop.
Yeah.
So it seems pretty innovative and different relative to many other games. You know,
definitely
excited for that. Game Pass, dude. No barrier to entry. Like I've told people before, I'll just throw in real quick. You buy Game Pass Ultimate on Black Friday, man. You just buy 4 3-month cards, and you can get Game Pass Ultimate for like $90 American, $95 American for a year. That's like a AAA game and a half. You know, it's such little barrier to entry. Anyway.
Yep. And then we hopped over to Psychonauts 2. Why don't you tell me what you thought about that one?
It just looks like a 3D platformer, but like one I've never played before, right? It looks so crazy and obviously inspired by acid trips and LSD and drugs. I never played the first Psychonauts, but quick shout out to our, game, the X Block podcast. Dude, we have a segment called Game Pass or Gameplay, where every month we spin a wheel and we pick a game in Game Pass from that wheel, that randomizer, we play it. And then on the first episode of the next month, we review it and then spin another wheel. And when we review it, we tell you whether you should pass or play on it. And this month, we're doing Psychonauts 2. Or not 1. Psychonauts 2, sorry. Psychonauts 1. Dude, I have Psychonauts 2 on the mind, though. Yeah, so we're doing Psychonauts 1. So we're playing that this month, or we're going to be kind of giving you whether you should pass or play on it the first episode of July.
Yep.
But for this game, it looked cool enough. I've never played them, so I don't have any kind of, history with it. It's made by, what is it, Tim Sweeney?
Yeah, Double Fine, right?
Jack Black at Double Fine. It seems like a very creative endeavor that they're very passionate about. So that's pretty cool. And it's coming into Game Pass.
So Jack Black?
Yeah, Jack Black.
Oh, does he?
He did music.
Oh, okay. I was like, did he make this game?
Yeah, well, he did make the game. He's a developer on it. He did the music.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
And then we switched over to, first, I want to just say August 25th for Psychonauts 2. I don't know if we mentioned that.
I don't know either. Good call.
And then we hopped over to Bethesda adding 10 new games to Game Pass. Arx Fatilis, Dishonored, Death of the Outsider, Doom, The Evil Within 2, Rage, Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus, Fallout, Fallout 2, Fallout Tactics, Fallout 3, and then they also announced 120 FPS for Doom Eternal and 60 FPS ray tracing.
Yeah, so I'm glad you got all that during the conference, because I didn't get all that, besides the fact that they added 10 titles and the Doom stuff, the Doom Eternal stuff. I think Doom Eternal is June 29th, right? June 29th is when they either get the upgrades or when it goes into Game Pass, right? Something like that?
I think so. Doom Eternal was already in Game Pass. They were kind of unclear about that. They were saying they're re-putting Doom back in it.
Okay, well, I think I wrote June 29th there, so I assume that's when you get the upgrades. If not, just go check. But I think I'm right there. And that's pretty good, dude. More games.
Yep, more games. And then they also showed Fallout 76, and they showed the Steel Rain kind of DLC that's coming out for it. That comes out on July 7th. Yeah. And they showed some Expeditions mode that is called The Pit. And I was wondering if that's maybe like Far Cry New Dawn's Expeditions, where you can kind of like leave the map and go to a different area.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think you're probably, I didn't even think about that, but you're probably right. That comes out sometime in 2022, they said.
Yeah.
But yeah, Expeditions is coming to Fallout 76 if you're for some reason playing that. Jared and I played it. Not too impressed. Honestly.
I don't know if we're going to go back or not, because I don't know if they're going to be making substantial changes to it just now that they're owned by Xbox, but I guess we'll find out.
It's not the worst co-op experience. It's just not the best game.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. And then ESO, right, is the next thing?
Yeah, optimized for Series X is essentially what they announced, and they just showed a trailer for ESO. There wasn't really much news aside from that it's going to be nicer looking.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, ESO is the Elder Scrolls Online. And they said they passed 18 million players, which is crazy, honestly. Even though it's cross-platform, that's still really good for that game. And I assume it's just growing and getting better. And with all these new, they have the Blackwood expansion out now or something. And like Jaren said, the game is console enhanced, but I think that happens on Tuesday. So this is Sunday, June 13th. So I guess it would be Tuesday, June 15th, right? They said Tuesday.
Yep.
So
yeah, that sounds about right.
That's when it'll be enhanced for all you boys out there.
And then, dude, the biggest game of the conference, Party Animals 2022, coming to Game Pass.
There it is. Tell me about this one, Jaren.
I have no idea. It looks like Gang Beasts, but with some animals in costumes.
What was that? It was just a bunch of animals in costumes
fighting,
flailing their arms at each other and pushing them off shit and being weird. And it was crazy. If you've seen Gang Beast footage, just imagine that, but crazier.
Yeah, it was strange. I'm really not that excited for it. I just really wanted to say that it was the greatest thing at the conference.
Yeah, 2022 Game Pass.
Yeah, weird to announce something like that so far out, but whatever.
I guess it's on your mind, dude. Party Animals. You're a party animal.
I'm a party animal, dude. It's about me.
A bigger game coming to Game Pass, though, on August 18th or August 13th, is the critically acclaimed Hades.
Yep.
So they had a big marketing push, leading up. I think it was announced relatively recently that game was coming to PlayStation. Everybody's like, fuck yeah, dude. Hades on PlayStation. Get fucked. You know what I mean? It's like the best game ever. Like game of the year last year for a lot of people. It's amazing. And then it's like, dude, fucking August 13th Game Pass. And you're like, hell yeah, dude.
Yo, free for the people with Game Pass already.
Exactly. That was a big get for them, I think. Hades is for both the developers of Hades, who are going to make a bunch of money, and then Game Pass and Xbox, because the game is so, everyone who plays that game says they love it. Even though I'm like skeptical. Everyone's like, nah, dude, it's great. So now there's really no barrier to entry, though.
Yeah, there's really nothing at all to stop you from going into that.
You'll see that as a theme through the conference, by the way.
And then up next, we had Somerville.
I think it's Somerville is how you're supposed to say it, but it's spelled Somerville.
Yeah, I wasn't sure because they have like Midsommar, and that's how you're supposed to say it when it's spelt that way. So I don't know.
Okay, one of us is right and one of us is wrong. That's all we know, but go ahead.
And there was a console launch exclusive. It was announced 2022 Game Pass Day 1. Typical thing if it's a console exclusive. I don't really have much to say about this game. Like, it looked really interesting and like weird and kind of unsettling, but I don't really know how the gameplay is going to be until I see it.
Yeah, it looked weird, and Jared and I will hop in, but we don't have to spend too long on that.
And then we got Caleb's thing, which I'm just going to let him talk about.
Okay, boys, we got Halo Infinite footage. All right, it finally happened. So it seemed, for the campaign, it seemed that it started off right as the initial reveal trailer ended, where he's like, get ready. And then he like ran out the back of the Pelican and then jumped. It seems like that is like what happened next, almost. Maybe not. And so that was supposed to be the opening cutscene. So it seems like that's a continuation of the opening cutscene, maybe. And the Master Chief went through all this, debris, and he was like, you only have one bullet. How can you take out an army with that? Like the guy, I don't remember his name, but the cool new side character or whatever, companion. And Master Chief was like, it's all I need. And you're like, Jesus, God. And then he found this AI on this ship who was supposed to be Cortana, or it looked like Cortana, but it seems like it was just another, I don't know, like a copy, or Dr. Halsey, for those of you know, like maybe Flash cloned her brain again. I don't know. She had her own mission. There was some amnesia going on. Apparently, Chief was supposed to capture Cortana and bring her to the Infinity to be, I don't know what you would say, turned offline, killed, whatever. And it was crazy. I don't know what's going on there, but we're going to find out. They didn't announce a release date, dude. They said holiday 2021 again. So we don't know what day or what month it's coming out, which is weird because you would think that they would show that here. But apparently they're just going to, announce it at some later date, maybe Gamescom or something. And so it's kind of weird that they didn't show a release date for this game. And then obviously they showed what I'm less excited for, but what probably more people are more excited for, which is multiplayer gameplay. And they showed off a lot of new weapons. It looks really cool they showed the grappling hook, which I'm pretty sure is equipment, but they didn't really necessarily specify that. And then they showed some samurai-looking armor, which kind of resembles the Hayabusa helmet from Halo 3, if any of you remember that. That's a really hard cut. And it just looked crazy. There was picking up fusion coils and throwing them at a mongoose running at you. And they didn't announce an Insider Flight, even though I thought Halo Insider Flight came up on the Xbox store before the conference a couple days ago. So I don't know what they're doing with that. Keep an eye on the Halo blog, the Halo Waypoint or 343 blog for all that information, and just keep an eye out, dude. It's coming. Halo looks good. It's real. And Xbox does need this, for this holiday season, as one of the few things that are coming out this holiday season that is going to be a system seller for them. Halo's back. We'll see if they delay it. They didn't announce, like I said, a hard release date, but it's looking good. It's looking like a good time.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm not the biggest Halo guy, but I always enjoy playing them when they come out.
I love Halo. I'm a big Halo fan. Probably my favorite gaming franchise. So you can believe you'll be hearing more about that on the Xbox podcast when it eventually comes out.
And now we're going to tear through the rest, or not the rest, but like the next couple ones, because a lot of them aren't as big of a deal and we don't care that much about them.
Amen.
Next, we had Diablo 2, 4K, 60 FPS, September 23rd, 2021, remaster. Cool.
8-player co-op. It looks good.
Not Game Pass.
Yeah, we said we're turning to the next couple. This one we stop on quick because it's one that Jaron and I were both really surprised by, which is Plague Tale Requiem. Plague Tale Requiem 2. Is that what it said, or is it just Plague Tale Requiem?
A Plague Tale Requiem. That's it. Because I don't think it I haven't played the first one, but you seemed kind of confused about how there could be a sequel. I don't think it's a direct sequel.
I think it is. I think okay, so yeah, Jaron hasn't played the first Plague Tale. I played the first Plague Tale. I thought it was a little long and a little overrated, but still pretty good, actually. And apparently this game is coming out in 2022 to Game Pass, made by Asobo and Focus Home, I guess. And yeah, it's called A Plague Tale Requiem. The first game was A Plague Tale Innocence. And the way the second game, or the first game ends, I was surprised, and I don't necessarily know how they're doing the sequel. And I don't want to spoil anything for anyone who hasn't played and is now going to jump in. But from the images that I've seen, they showed the girl, I don't remember her name. It's all French, and I don't necessarily remember the characters' names, even though I played the game recently. The girl and her little brother, it showed both of them. And she looks older and more hardcore. And it looks like it's almost like a Last of Us Part 2 to I guess Last of Us Part 1's pretty hardcore too, so I guess that's a bad comparison. But she's still, dude, it just looks like Ellie in like and from The Last of Us 2, where she is really hardcore.
Okay, so that's cool.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It looks interesting, and I'm definitely excited for that one. That was we're stopping on that one a little longer because I'm so excited that they announced that. It was a surprise where I was like, oh man, Halo Infinite and Stalker 2 were the things I was most excited for, and now like Plague Tales is in there too for something that I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, and they're going to actually get me to play the first one because of how good the trailer for the second one was.
Yeah, and in Game Pass, it's just so great.
Yeah.
Good time.
And now we get to start tearing.
Here we go.
Far Cry 6 looks way better here. Most confusing game I've ever seen. Looks great sometimes, looks bad other times, who knows?
The gameplay wasn't at Ubisoft's conference, but it was here, and it's a way better, it's like the best trailer so far, and it comes out October 7th.
Console launch exclusive coming up here, Slime Rancher 2, Game Pass 2022. Some people are really excited for that. Some people were like, what's Slime Rancher? Wherever you fall, it's coming to Game Pass. Give it a shot.
I feel like if you have played, I feel like those of you who are Slime Rancher fans know all you need to know, and those of you who aren't, you don't need to know.
Another console launch exclusive, Shredders, coming December 2021. Game Pass day one. Snowboarding game. Interesting.
Made by the people where their logo popped up. It said Foam Punch. Those guys. That was them.
Then Atomic Heart. That was a crazy kind of RPG style game. Apparently that's coming to Game Pass day one, but there was no release date or even year window that I saw.
I wrote no date, but I may have missed it. I don't have much to say about that. I mean, it looked
it looked
a lot
cool.
of stuff looked interesting.
It.
Everything here pretty much looked interesting. So yeah.
Another console launch exclusive after that, Replaced. That's coming 2022, day one for Game Pass. That looked like the sequel to that Last Night game that never came out.
Yeah, Last Night. Yeah, exactly. Dude, that game, one of the best looking games of the conference. Behind Plague Tale, probably the best surprise, I think, for me, in terms of games I was interested in that looked really cool. And it's developed by Coatsink, I think it was. And it's like a stylized, somewhat pixelated, I don't really know how to describe it besides, you just got to watch the trailer. If you haven't seen all this, or you haven't watched all the trailers or anything, go watch Replaced, man. Tell me how excited you are for that game.
It looks cool.
It's a good time. Yeah.
Next up, Grounded, got updates and achievements mainly. So maybe Caleb and I will finally play that if the achievements don't suck.
It's the Shroom and Doom update, and they have an arachnophobia mode where if you're scared of spiders, you can just turn them into like these blob models. And the trailer is really good.
Then we got Among Us updates. June 15th is when it seemed like they were saying 15-player lobbies come, but I assume that's to PC, and they said it was coming soon to Xbox. That's all they gave.
Jaron's a big Among Us fan, so yeah, all you Among Us fans out there, dude, stay hype.
Yep.
Among Us still trucking along.
We talked about most of those features in our Summer Game Fest review if you'd like to hear more about those.
Indeed.
Then something that I can't say.
Ayuden Chronicle Rising and something else Ayuden coming 2022. Don't care. Moving on.
Then they showed off the Ascent, but this game's been teased so many times and it comes out in July 28th that if you're excited for it now, that you're excited for it. If you're not, you're not. So
I wrote July 29th in Game Pass. And yeah, it looks like a kind of isometric shooter, maybe something like that.
I think you're right. It's July 29th.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, you know about it. If you don't know about it, if you're interested, go watch. Like, I assume you know about it, though. It's been teased a bunch.
Then they showed off Age of Empires 4. That comes out October 28th into Game Pass.
On PC. I don't think it said regular Game Pass. I think it said Game Pass PC. And so, yeah, this is your traditional kind of war sim, like a Civilization-esque game. A very old and established franchise, Age of Empires. They just remastered, I think, all 3 of the previous iterations, and now they're making a new one. And if you're into Age of Empires, this is it, man. This is your time. You got it.
Yeah. It's not for me, but I get that people like Age of Empires. Then we moved on to all of kind of the bigger Xbox announcements, I guess.
Yeah, closing out the conference here.
Closing out the show. Console exclusive Outer Worlds 2 in Game Pass day one. We all kind of knew that, but this trailer was great. Even though it was all just CG, the fact that they acknowledged it throughout the trailer with a voice that everything you were seeing except for the title was really not finalized.
Yeah, I wrote that it was the best trailer, and the people who are, if anyone's complaining, rather, I haven't seen anyone, but if anyone's complaining like, yo, this game it's got nothing except like a title. There's nothing there. It's like, yeah, that's the point of the trailer. Like, you couldn't make the trailer without having it that way. Like, that's the funny part, is that they made a joke about, like now you hear that sound. Now we pan across an open, a planet. And then you see lens flare, because here's the lens flare, you're supposed to. And he's like, and then you see a silhouette of a protagonist, because we don't have all the textures and haven't, certain what they're going to look like. And it's like, then you see the title card, which is all we have for the game. And it's way better than I'm giving it credit for. That's just the general vibe, if you're interested in the trailer. It's really funny.
Yeah, it was great.
Obsidian working on the Outer Worlds 2, something Jaren called that would be shown at E3. He called it.
Yeah, I called it, 3 weeks ago? 4 weeks ago?
2 weeks? I don't know. You called it, though. I didn't believe, but you were right. I mean, there's nothing there except the title, but you were right. You were 100% right.
And then we got the greatest game of this generation, a masterpiece in game development. Some people say one of the best video games ever made. That person might just be me, but Metacritic darling, industry smashing hit success game. And,
generation defining, as some reviewers said.
Generation defining. And Caleb and I will probably be playing this. I say probably because Caleb might not be, but I will 100% be in this until I get every achievement.
Oh my God, that's going to be so long.
We're talking about Flight Simulator.
I was going to say, we got to say what it is. It's Microsoft Flight Simulator, which came out last year, and they announced that it would be coming for consoles. And it is on July 27th in Game Pass.
And then they showed off a Top Gun kind of, I guess they're adding in the jet from Top Gun. So that might actually make the flying achievement a little quicker if you get to fly a jet.
Top Gun DLC. So, and Jaren, like, for those of people who didn't know about this game too much or seen much from it, how good did it look, man? How good did it look?
It looks so good that I had to change my shorts.
The cities were so like the cloud technology is just crazy. That game is so just a showcase, man. People thought racing sims were it. Nah, dude. Flight sim. That's what you use to show off your new console. Like, goddamn.
Yeah, but if you wanted to go more traditional and show off racing sims, next up, Forza Horizon 5, coming out November 9th. They spent quite a bit of time on this. They walked us through your typical Forza features. They announced a couple different ones. If you guys really want the in-depth look at it, I'd say go watch the trailer. But our thoughts on Forza 5, Horizon 5, it looks good.
It does, dude. It looks fantastic.
The gameplay looks fun. I like all the new modes that they added in. I like the new styles that they're kind of going for. My only criticism as of everything since Forza Horizon 1 is I feel like we just haven't had that overarching story throughout the game ever since Forza Horizon 1.
Yeah, and I agree that is kind of one of the pitfalls of the game that could be improved, an actual real story instead of just about exploration and driving as much. But yeah, I mean, that's the game they're going for. I guess they didn't want to do that. I don't know. Yeah,
it's definitely easier to make them more often if you don't do that.
It's true. And like Jaren said, they have these new modes. And with you run over pinatas, they have new rivals shit, from the games if you played them before. It's coming into Game Pass on November 9th. So launching way later traditionally than Forza Horizon games that usually come out in September. And one of them came out in October. But this one's coming out in November. So it's a first. And it's in Mexico. They said it was, like a truly, they wanted to be honest and authentic, about it, but I didn't see any cartel. So, we'll see if the cartel or DLC or something. And then they had a Ford Bronco that they showed off. Jaron was super hype about that. And yeah, we knew this game was coming, by the way. I'll just say there was a Hot Wheels line of toys that got kind of announced, or models rather, that got kind of announced a few weeks ago. And I wrote about that on Screen Rant. And then industry insiders were been teasing this forever. So we knew it was coming, but it finally got announced. And it took so long because they're also working on Fable, that studio. They're split.
Yep.
So yeah, good times.
And the only thing I kind of point out about this is we've got Forza November 9th. So what does that mean for Halo? Like, I know they didn't give a release date, but that means Halo either has to be like the first week of October or it has to be the last week of November.
Yeah, here's what I'm thinking. They are not certain even that they can put this game out this year, even though they're sticking to it. They're really struggling and crunching to finish developing this game, even though they already delayed it a year. For sure, they definitely are. They put holiday because they're not sure when in the holiday they could put it. I assume that they want to get it out sometime at least on or before Black Friday. Like, I assume that's what they're really trying. Like, I assume Black Friday is when people go and buy, even people who are not as aware as such, go buy games. Like general consumers, and Halo is a brand and a name recognized, so people want Halo Infinite on the shelves so that they can buy it for Christmas on Black Friday and shit. I assume that. I don't think they would release in December, something like that crazy, like they've never done before, but that they would need to do to get this game out this year, like they said. And it seems like they just don't know, man. October, it seems like it could be October, but why wouldn't they just announce that now? It's June. It's about to be July, and I just assume they're still trying to nail down a date precisely to where they can finish it as much as possible. And I wouldn't even expect it when it comes out to be totally done, even, or like as good as it will be in the next 6 months after the game launches. But they're probably trying to hit that Black Friday window, I assume.
Yep.
And the fact that Forza Horizon is coming out November 9th, I guess that slot isn't going to be it. So you would expect a week before or after if it's in November.
Yeah, and it can't be a week before because that's Back for Blood, which they paid for to come to Game Pass. So that seems like it'd be a waste of their money.
Yes. So there you go, nailing down the dates here.
And then after Forza, we saw Arcane Austin's new game called Redfall, which we heard rumors about. That comes out summer 2022, and that has to do with vampires.
Yeah, it's their motto was "Bite Back," which is weird. Yeah, because Jaron was like, "Why would you want to bite a vampire back?" And this was Xbox's One More Thing, and we didn't know about it. It's pretty cool. Xbox exclusive, 4-player co-op. In Game Pass, like Jaron said, summer 2022. It's coming. It looks like 4 people, stylized with their different art styles, and they are just shooting vampires, and it's very attitude, they're writing, and they didn't really show gameplay though. It was just CG. Yeah. So we don't really know what's going on with that game. We have to see gameplay first.
It's true. We have no idea what's happening with that game.
That's the last game they showed in the conference.
But then we got the true One More Thing, Caleb. They ended the show. It said, thanks for watching. And then it cut to black.
Yeah.
And the Xbox fridge.
No, we thought it was an Xbox Series X commercial at first, because that's what it looked like. And what happened? The Series X opened up, and it was the mini fridge.
And it said cooling technology.
Yeah, dude, it was so hype. For those of you who don't know, man, I mean, if you haven't been following the Xblock podcast since day one, Jared and I started this podcast because we wanted Microsoft to send us a fridge. It didn't happen, but, it's still a joke.
It's still a chance
we're still
now.
Down. Dude, it was when they initially announced those fridges for, like, industry people, and it was like, we want a fridge, and then they sent them all out, and it wasn't going to happen. But the dream's been kept alive, because then The Rock made his own line of Zoa fridges, and it's like, oh man, the dream's alive. Then those were gone. I'm like, damn. And then they were like, if we win this Twitter popularity contest against Skittles, we'll make another line of mini fridges. And so we're still here, Jared, for the fridges. Come in holiday 2021, I think they said, dude.
I'm going to throw a random prediction out here, Caleb.
Go ahead, man.
You ready?
I'm something.
Halo.
Yeah.
You can't bundle it with the Xbox Series X because it's too hard to get Series X's, so they're not going to have a special edition, right?
Oh,
what you can make is a mini fridge. Do you think that they will bundle Halo Infinite with some of the mini fridges?
Listen, I don't know if I can afford buying a mini fridge on its own like that. But if they're bundling just a hard copy of Halo Infinite with a mini fridge, like, that's too enticing. I'm going to have to do it, man.
That's why they both said holiday 2021. Yeah, they didn't. Either of them had release dates.
Maybe they don't know when the fridges will be ready. And that's why they haven't given Infinite a date. I don't think all that's true, but that's pretty funny though.
Yeah, dude, shot in the dark prediction.
If it does happen though, you heard it here first on the Xblock podcast. I guarantee you heard it here first. No one else is that dumb.
And that was the end of the Xbox show. Now, Caleb, we've got to give it our fire or faff rating. At this point, if you've listened to the rest of our shows, faff, uninteresting, didn't need to watch it. fire, any kind of fire ranging from just a little match to a big bonfire. That's how hot the conference was.
Yeah. So it's either worth watching or it's not. It's either good or it's bad. It's either fire or it's faff.
Yep. And Caleb, you know what I'm giving this one?
Dude, I have an idea, but I want you to say it, and then I'll let you know.
I'm giving it the fire that came out when Pompeii got set off.
Exploded?
Yeah.
And all of its civilians were covered in ash and murdered and dead?
Yep.
Okay. That's pretty bold, Jaron. I was going to give it a raging forest fire, but we can also go with a Mount Pompeii eruption. That's one way to go with it. So yeah, dude. That conference was hype, man. I'm not going to lie. They did everything they needed to. It didn't waste our time, you know? It had good announcements, surprises, showed stuff, gameplay. I mean, a lot of the stuff is coming in 2022. So that's, you know, there was a pandemic and shit got delayed and other things. But apparently you have, Halo Infinite coming out this year. You have Forza Horizon 5 coming out this year. You have Psychonauts 2 coming out this year.
Yep.
And then everything in between
Flight
on Game
Sim.
Pass. Yeah, Flight Sim, like the deal, you have
Back
stuff
for
that was
Blood.
already announced. You still have stuff this year, like Sea of Thieves is getting a fucking Pirates of the Caribbean expansion. And yeah, you have Back for Blood. You have, what did we just say? Microsoft Flight Sim. You have Grounded stuff that's coming. So, like, just stuff this year in Game Pass, on Xbox. Like, they're supporting the console, they're supporting the services, and it's all a good time. Like, they did it. They had a good conference. And next year, I imagine, Jaron and I talked about it, we were surprised they didn't show acquisitions. I imagine you'll see acquisitions next year. You know?
Yeah, to even bolster the fact that they want to be able to make a game every 3 months, whether that's through acquisitions of like getting Back for Blood or this Avalanche like second party kind of collaboration.
Yeah, or Sega, like the theory that's been raging for years of like they're gonna buy Sega, like maybe one day.
Yeah, so that's basically all we've got to say about the Xbox show. If you would like to hear our thoughts on other things, check out the rest of our E3 coverage on the X-Block Podcast on YouTube or anywhere. You can look up X-Block Podcast on any of your streaming platforms. Or if you want to know what we're going to be covering in the future, come check us out at X-Block Podcast on Twitter.
Leave comments too.
Yeah, leave comments.
Yeah.
The regular podcast will resume next Monday.
Yeah, next Monday. So we have this now, and then we may do Square Enix after this, and then we have at least, Bandai Namco, Capcom coming up, stuff like that, right? So
yep.
We'll see. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. And that is all for this version of an X-Block Podcast review.
X-Block out.